Good morning, welcome back ladies, gents and Pikachus. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign, life is demanding. I'm not just quoting a really bad 90s song by Ace of Base. I'm making a point that if you have basic discernment, when you see signs of things that are going to happen in future, you listen. Right? When your instinct is telling you something, you generally take that on board. So what am I talking about? Well, I did a video a few days ago about the Gaza and Peace deal, and I said, I don't trust this. This Gaza and Peace deal will not last. Probably won't even last a month. But I said, by next March, we'll know if the Muslims are really serious about upholding this peacefulness that they claim they have. They call themselves a religion of peace, right? So if you're going to go around telling people, what's your religion? Cool. Well, my religion's the religion of peace. You know, if you're going to make that boast, you have to back it up with behaviour. Roll forward to the video I made on the Gaza and Peace deal not being very trustworthy, and the first comment that I get from a Muslim by Chester5981 is as follows. Oh, poor Jews that you LARP as, the biggest killers, and you bend your knee. Good goy. And this just proves my point. The reason I'm bringing this comment up, right? I said in my video, I don't believe that Muslims truly want for peace because they call themselves the religion of peace, but they don't show us in their behaviour that they are peaceable people. And in the past, we know every single ceasefire that's ever involved the Palestinian people has been broken in quick succession. And then they have played the blame game and said, well, you broke it first. And they don't understand peace. That's obvious. Islam does not understand peace. So then we look at this comment. So let's break it down. Oh, poor Jews you LARP as. So he's saying he doesn't care about the fact that Jews have died in the war, or October the 7th happened, or anything else that happens to Jews. He doesn't care about Jews and thinks we're LARPing. Right? So he doesn't think Jews are a real race of people. So he starts off with racism, bearing in mind we're supposed to be celebrating peace, and these are the religion of peace guys. Then he says they are the biggest killers, and you bend the knee. Right, so he's referencing me being a Christian, bending the knee to Jesus, and Jesus being a Jew, but also Jews being the biggest killers. So he's at the same time as being racist and insightful towards Jews, also towards Christians. And the last thing he says is good goy, which is goy is a word for like a foreign person. It's Hebrew, ancient Hebrew for foreigner. So in a single sentence, he's fitted in 3 references to racism, 2 references to religious incitement, has referred to me as being a LARPing Jew who is a killer, and insulted my religion by saying I'm bending the knee to other guys like this, and then said I'm a foreigner. This is how people think in Islam that peace shall be preserved. When you have peace, which was not earned, by the way, Hamas did not earn that peace. They took hostages, tortured and killed them after having done a failed invasion on a holy day. That was the context for the war. And the only reason they got offered this peace is from international pressure. It wasn't anything they did. So they didn't earn the peace, they didn't want the peace. Even though they accepted the peace, it was a lie, like I said in my video. And the proof is, this guy claims to be a moderate, peaceful Muslim. So this is one of the least aggressive Muslims. And to quantify that, the last conversation I had with this chap, he said to me, thank you Daily Corbett for being such a good Christian. And what he was referring to is the fact that his constant insults and baits to me over the space of the last year, I never responded with hatred to any of it. I was always kind, generous, and I explained everything. So the first opportunity he gets to sling the knife into my back and be racist and hateful and, insightful towards me, he absolutely jumps on. And this is a peaceful, moderate Muslim who calls himself a peacemaker, who calls his religion the religion of peace. So we can see here, this is the summary, right? This is the evidence that you need. This is the proof that we have that Muslims cannot comprehend peace. They just don't know how peace works. When they have it, they don't know what to do with it. And they're itching to get back into a fight. Peace is not a natural setting for them like it is for some of us. So, in conclusion, if this is the attitude that the everyday, peaceful, moderate on the street Muslim takes towards a guy like me, who's never done anything wrong, and he even said last time he congratulated me on my Christian values, being kind, generous and forgiving. If this is the attitude we can expect from the moderate, peaceful, everyday Muslim on the street, no, not your terrorist Muslims, then how do you think Hamas, Egypt, Saudi Arabian, Jordanian, Syrian and Iranian Muslims are going to be feeling right now? How do you think they respond to being pushed into a peace deal which they never wanted and they actually aren't enjoying, and that defeats the goal of their religion? Do you think that's likely to last? Or, like I think, and like the Quran actually predicts, do you think that this is part of a jihad, which means in short order in the future, other Muslims will rearm, reorganise and attack Israel again so that they can banish the Jews and Christians from the bounty of Allah, you know, the lands of East and West? Because we know from reading the Quran, you have to believe in the Judgment Day. That's like in fact, let's read it again. Right? Let's see what the third thing that Allah says to his Muslims is. 1. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds, most gracious, most merciful. He is master of the day of judgment, in which you must believe. So, the day of judgment, as you will know if you study the Quran, the day of judgment is the day that occurs when the Muslims have successfully disposed of the world's Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, idolaters, atheists, pagans, Buddhists, and agnostics, everyone else. You have to believe in that day of judgment and that Allah is the master of the day of judgment in order to call yourself a Muslim. That's the third sentence in that whole book. It's in the Hafs as well. So for you to be a Religion of Peace member, moderate or otherwise, you need to believe in Allah being the God who is the master of the day of judgment, which will be reached after Muslims specifically murder every other type of person in the world who is not a Muslim. Then think, how does that work? How is that compatible with a peace deal, or the Abraham Accords, or living side by side with other religions, with diversity, with equality, with freedom, with peace? How is it compatible? It's not. Any idiot knows that. And this is the reason why Muslims would very much like you not to read the Quran. They would very much like you not to study their religion. They would very much like to just be able to give you a speech on their view of things, you know, dawah, and for you to accept the taqiyite strategies they offer you and just bugger off into a corner while they prepare their jihad. And that is what we're looking at here. There is no peace. There is a ceasefire masquerading as a peace, and the ceasefire was engineered and forced upon the Muslims by Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu and his IDF, who actually do want peace. But it won't last, because the Muslims do not want peace. What they want is to be facilitating the cause of Allah so that they can reach the paradise, and that means being willing to reach the day of judgment for Allah. And we know through reading this that the way they're doing that is by murdering everyone. There is no place for peace. The religion of peace is going to engineer peace on earth by wiping out all its enemies. And that's the reason they use this propaganda of we're the religion of peace. You know, if you're the religion of peace, you don't need to go around telling people, waving swords, saying we're the religion of peace, do you? People will see it on you. So, in summary, I'm not going to attack this guy for his views because I'm absolutely certain, and I said this originally to him, Muslims like him who think they're moderate, who think they're peacemakers, they're not free to think that. They're told to think that. They have to think that. And the second they get any incitement from any other place inside the Muslim world, any other Muslim tells them they should, they immediately turn on the bloodlust. That is their natural setting. And that is why this peace will not last. So, get yourself ready for more war in the Middle East, more anti-Semitic rubbish and propaganda in the media, more world leaders fawning over each other to send money to Palestine, more immigration controls breaking down, and more crime on the streets of your country thanks to the nice friendly Muslim. Because this is the way of things. And don't just take your nice friendly Muslims' word for it, because they predict it one way in there. But if you're a Christian or a Jew, God actually predicts the same thing in here with a slightly different result. God predicts that no matter how much you try to encourage the darkness to understand the light, the darkness comprehended it not. And that's what we think is going to happen. That's where the evidence is showing us we are being led. So, at the at the risk of speaking too long, I think we all know what's going to happen here. So enjoy the peace while it lasts, and realise that it's only there because Bibi Netanyahu and Donald Trump have forced it upon Hamas and the Palestinians and the Muslims. They don't want it. But sooner or later, when everyone's backs are turned, nobody's expecting it, that knife is going straight in the back, like it always has done in the past, and it always will until the very day Islam is no more, and then we will have peace. And that's just a fact. So, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now.